What's going on, guys? Jacoborth back here with another video, Jacob's Life in Vegas, coming to you guys with a video that I wanted to do kind of as a follow-up to the video talking about the sale of Caesars being purchased by Eldorado. And just talking about some of the things that have gone on here in Vegas in recent years that have upset people, some of the changes Vegas has made. And I want to talk a little more about it, a little more in depth, and speculate on some of the changes that might be coming our way here in the near future and how that could be very good for you, the individual who's coming here on vacation. So guys, be sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Got a lot of other videos about Vegas coming up in the future I think you guys are gonna like. It is a bright morning here in Las Vegas, so the shades are gonna come on as I read some of this to you guys. So, Eldorado has bought Caesars Entertainment, okay? That was the big news within the last week or so around here in Las Vegas. And that could mean some changes here in Las Vegas, of course. Because it's going to be Eldorado's first time having a presence here on the Strip, as far as I know. They have nothing on the Strip now, or nothing here in Vegas now. So this is going to be a big change for them. Now, one of the things that's going to be happening is it really looks like Eldorado is going to have to sell some of their properties here in Vegas and also possibly across other states too, to avoid some issues with the government. So I'm going to talk about this today, and some other people, particularly some other billionaires who are interested in buying properties here in the Las Vegas area. So the first one I'll go through here is Treasure Island owner Phil Ruffin says he'd be interested in buying another Strip casino if a Caesars property becomes available in the company's just announced merger with Eldorado Resorts. And I'll try to remember, guys, to put links to these articles down below if you want to read them. Let's say here, it says, I can say we'd be very interested in a Strip property that's not part of a REIT, R-E-I-T, Real Estate Investment Trust. That's from Ruffin himself, who said that. He says we wouldn't be interested in the Rio, but we'd be interested in something on the Strip if something were to be available. Eldorado CEO Tom Reeg says, during a conference call on Monday, said that the merger will create, listen to this, more Strip exposure than we would need. So the CEO of Eldorado is saying, hey, with all these properties on the Strip, we don't need that many. So obviously they're going to be probably looking to sell one or two, or who knows. Let's see. Reeg says, you can see the map where there might be some overlap, and we might have an asset that could be a candidate for sale. I don't want to talk about specifics, but I would expect that we'd be a seller of a Strip asset. So he's saying, indicating that at least one property that that they just acquired on the Strip is probably going to go up for sale. Caesars Resorts on Strip properties are, a lot of you probably know this, are Bally's, Caesars Palace, the Cromwell, Flamingo, Harrah's, the Link, Paris, and Planet Hollywood. Only Caesars and Harrah's are REIT properties. Those are the only two that are part of a REIT. Company also owns Rio, which is off the Strip. Okay, Reeg said any sale decisions will be made as the merger, which still needs to be approved from regulators and shareholders, moves closer to an anticipated closing date in the first half of next year in 2020. So still a little work to be done before the deal is actually approved, but that's where it looks like things are going, assuming everything gets approved, that there's going to be some properties going up for sale. Now here's another part, a separate article. Houston billionaire Tilman Fertitta is looking to purchase casino property on the Las Vegas Strip that could be spun off from Eldorado Resorts' acquisition of gaming giant Caesars Entertainment. Eldorado, headquartered in Reno, Nevada, is expected to sell some of Caesars' 9 Las Vegas Strip properties and other casinos around the country to avoid federal antitrust issues. 100% I'm interested, Fertitta said Tuesday. I'll try to pick off one or two properties. Fertitta's empire spans restaurants, hotels, amusement parks, and 5 Golden Nugget casinos. Fertitta owns a Golden Nugget casino in downtown Las Vegas that earns $100 million a year before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, right? So EBITDA, for those of you that are accounting and finance people. But he does not have a casino on the iconic Las Vegas Strip, where most of the city's tourists and conventioneers stay and play. He owns several restaurants on the Las Vegas Strip, actually, and I was not aware of this, including Morton's and Mastro Steakhouses, Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, and Rainforest Cafe. So Fertitta already has some presence here in terms of business, but he doesn't have any big properties on the Strip here in Las Vegas. And let's see, we close out. So other interested buyers include Phil Ruffin of Treasure Island Casino and Las Vegas Boyd Gaming Corp. So Boyd Gaming is interested too. So Fertitta was actually in the process of trying to buy Caesars too. He was competing with Eldorado. But it says, despite losing his bid for Caesars, Fertitta still came out a winner. During his 8-month pursuit of Caesars, Fertitta, who has an estimated net worth of $5.1 billion, purchased 4.5 million shares in the gaming giant. So Fertitta's doing okay, even without being able to buy Caesars. So what does this mean for the future for here in Las Vegas? Let's talk some theory here, and let's speculate a little bit of what might happen here in the future, and really what this means for you as someone coming here on vacation. Because a lot of the big complaints recently have been some of the changes that have been made here in recent years, and to a lot of people, right, that company right there, MGM Resorts, is kind of like the evil empire of Las Vegas, especially when they started charging for parking, because they started that trend, and then Caesars jumped on board, then Wynn Resorts jumped on and then jumped off. And even now you have smaller properties like the Embassy Suites charges for parking now going on. So a lot of people don't look at MGM too favorably. And you know, they've made a lot of changes in recent years with MGM here, but a lot of the changes MGM makes affect everyone else because they are so big. They're such a dominant player here. They're the biggest employer in the state of Nevada. So you had MGM was the big fish, and also you have Caesars. Really, those two combined for most of the ownership of the properties here on the Strip. Now, with Caesars being sold to someone else and properties being sold off, some people might think that's not good. That might mean that MGM becomes more dominant because now there's no one else as big as them, or even close to as big as them on the Strip and here in Nevada. Well, not really, okay? Because here's what happens. A lot of the reason that these things happen in Vegas, we have MGM and Caesars basically kind of dictating the game here on the Strip to a lot of people and tourists, is because they are the two biggest players, because they have the most properties here on the Strip. So you don't have as much competition. You don't have as many other companies competing for your dollars. If MGM decides something, and then Caesars follows suit and they decide something, then that already takes care of most of the properties on the Strip, and people have less choice to go around. So with Caesars being sold, you have Eldorado takes over now. So Eldorado buys Caesars. And let's just say Phil Ruffin gets a property. Let's say Fertitta gets a property. So you have those two. So you have two more people with properties, right? Phil Ruffin now gets a second property here in Las Vegas. So he's got more influence because now he has grown his company. Fertitta, he's going to come in and he's obviously going to want to compete here in the Las Vegas market. You also have that giant casino going and being built down on the north end of the Strip, Resorts World. Soon after that, as far as we know right now, the Drew is going to be coming in the next couple of years. So really, on the horizon, you have a lot more competition coming here to the Vegas area, and that is great for you. That is great for people looking to come here on vacation who are sick and tired of a lot of the things that have been going on here on the Strip. Because the more companies that compete for your dollar, the better it is for you. You're much better off economically having 25 properties on the Strip with 25 different owners than you're having one owner own everything, because they have the monopoly and they have all control. And if you don't like what they do, well, it's like tough. Where else are you going to go? It's the same concept with happens with like people going to the DMV, right? With government organizations. Well, if you don't like the DMV, they screw something up, then it's not like you can say, well, I'm going to go out of here and go to somewhere else to register my car or get my license, because you can't. So similar concept here on the Strip. When you have only a few big players that dictate everything, you don't have that much choice, and they have so much influence that it takes away a lot of your power as an individual. It takes away your power as a consumer. The more choice you have, the better it is for you, because they really have to compete now for your dollar. So MGM, as big as they are, they've got two things going on here. As big as they are, they have two things going on. Okay, one, they're not in a major position to acquire any other properties or have massive growth. Because remember, they just sold off Mandarin Oriental recently. Now it's the Waldorf Astoria. And their plan this year, remember, has been to cut 2,000 jobs. So MGM is in a period of cutting. They're cutting down. They're cutting back. They're not looking to get bigger. They're not looking to expand. So they're going to have, they're in a position of cutting back. At the same time, you're going to have more competition coming on the scene here in Las Vegas. So instead of Phil gets one, say Fertitta gets one, Resorts World comes up, the Drew comes up, who knows however the thing may play out. But those people, not just added, two potential, well, yeah, if that plays out, you have, in the next few years, you're going to have 3 new competitors, with Fertitta getting a property, with Resorts World, and with the Drew, if it pans out that way. And then Phil Ruffin, say he expands his business here. Now you have 3 more competitors, plus one who's already here that just expanded on the property that they already have. So now MGM has all these new competitors they got to handle at the same time while they're trying to cut back. That does not put MGM in a good position to be able to dictate what's going on here on the Strip as much. So all these places competing, all these places are going to put pressure on them. Every time that a place, you know, says, hey, we're not charging for parking. They say, we're gonna have 3-2 blackjack. We're gonna lower resort fees, get rid of resort fees. We're running room specials. Every time they do something like that to get your dollar, it puts a whole bunch of pressure on that place right there, on that casino, on that hotel. That's who it puts a lot of pressure on. Even as big as they are, as many employees as they have, they've got a lot of new competition coming into town. So in the next few years, you could get a lot of benefit as a tourist, a lot of benefit as someone coming here to Vegas, because all that competition winds up being good for people, winds up good giving them choice. It was the same concept as when Uber and Lyft were trying to get here into Las Vegas, and it took them so long to get in here because they had to fight the taxi industry, they had to fight the transportation industry. Why did the transportation and taxi industry fight so hard? Because they wanted to keep their monopoly. They didn't want the competition. That's exactly why. They wanted to keep all the money for themselves. So when you had other companies come in like Uber and Lyft who started competing, you got a better product, you got better service, and you got a cheaper price on it. It's made taxis obsolete in so many other parts of the country now. That's what has happened. That's why when people ask, hey, how come there's no you know, tram or monorail or anything that like connects, you know, the strip to the airport? Because for years, the transportation industry, the taxi industry, all these people lobbied against it. Why? Because they wanted to keep that monopoly. They wanted to be the only ones to drive people from back and forth the airport to the strip. They didn't want someone else taking that business and taking that money away from them, so they fought against it. So that's what's going on here. You're gonna have more competition, you're gonna have more choice, you're gonna have more options, and it's gonna be great for you because they're gonna have to offer shows you like. They're gonna have to offer rooms at price that you think are justifiable. They're gonna have to offer other attractions that you like. They're gonna have to really compete to get your money. So regardless of what happens to MGM in the future, whether they sell off other properties, whether they just stay put where they're at, that competition coming to town, coming to the strip is a good thing for you. So I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this down below. Tell me what you think. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm completely wrong? Do you think MGM's only going to become more dominant from here? Do you think all this competition is going to wind up, you know, being good for the people that come here on vacation? I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Give me your analysis of the whole situation here going on in Las Vegas, or that's soon to be going on here in the area. Please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. I appreciate all of you guys watching. That's gonna be it for this video. I'm Jacob. This is My Life in Vegas.